Morning, we're on our way up to the castle. We have to walk past this bit, so thought I'd show you some of the fish that are in here again. There's some beauties in here. Well, we finally made it up.
The poor fellow soldiers of Christ and on the Temple of Solomon, as the Order of Solomon's Temple, the Knights Templar, or simply the Templars, was a Catholic military order, one of the most wealthy and popular of the Western Christian military orders. They were founded in 1119, headquartered on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and existed for nearly 2 centuries during the Middle Ages. They were officially endorsed by the Roman Catholic Church by such decrees as the Papal Bull Omni or Pope Innocent II. The Templars became a favoured charity throughout Christendom and grew rapidly in membership and power. Templar Knights, in their distinctive white mantles with a red cross, were amongst the most skilled fighting units of the Crusades. They were prominent in Christian France. Non-combatant members of the order, who made up around 90% of their members, managed a large economic infrastructure throughout Christendom. They developed innovative financial techniques that were an early form of banking, building a network of nearly 1,000 commanderies and fortifications across Europe and the Holy Land, and arguably forming the world's first multinational corporation. The Templars were closely tied to the Crusades when the Holy Land was lost. Support for the order favoured. Rumours about the Templars' secret initiation ceremony created distrust, and King Philip IV of France, while being deeply in debt to the order, used this distrust to take advantage of the situation. And in 1307 he pressured Pope Clement to have many of the order's members in France arrested, tortured into giving false confessions, and then burned at the stake. Under further pressure, Pope Clement V disbanded the order in 1312. The abrupt disappearance of a major part of the European infrastructure gave rise to speculation and legends, which have kept the Templar name alive into the present day. This place was the last city or the last castle that was built by the Templars.
Main cloister.
The Convent of Christ is a former Catholic convent in Tomar, Portugal, originally a 12th century Templar stronghold. And when the order was dissolved in the 14th century, the Portuguese branch was turned into the Knights of the Order of Christ, that later supported Portugal's maritime discoveries of the 15th century. The convent and the castle complex is a historic and cultural monument and was listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. During the second quarter of the 13th century, Tomar was transferred into the control of the Templars, becoming its seat. The castle became an integral part of the defence system created by the Templars to secure the borders of the young Christian kingdom against the Moors, which at the time occupied the area to approximately the Tagus River. But following the dissolution of the Templar Order on the 14th of March 1319, and following the request of King Denis of Portugal and Pope John the 22nd's instituted the Order of Christ, the seat of the former Knights Templar was converted in 1357 into the seat of this new order.
Very different church. Sacristy.
The Romanesque round church is a Catholic church from the castle, was built in the second half of the 12th century by the Knights Templar. From the outside, the church is a 16-side polygonal structure with strong buttresses, round windows and a bell tower inside the round church, and also as a central octagonal structure connected by arches to a surrounding gallery. The general shape of the church is modelled after similar round structures in Jerusalem, the Mosque of Omar and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The interior of the round church is magnificently decorated with late Gothic sculptures and paintings added during a renovation sponsored by King Manuel I, starting in 1419. The pillars of the central octagon and the walls of the ambulatory have polychrome statues of saints and angels under exuberant Gothic canopies, while the walls and ceilings of the ambulatory are painted with Gothic patterns and panels depicting the life of Christ. The paintings are attributed to the workshop of the court painter Manuel I, the Portuguese Jorge Alfonso, while the sculptured decoration is attributed to the Flemish sculptor Olivier de Grand.
Messe. Sì, sì, la caserma da una parte conservata ma dall'altra parte forzata. Un'altra cosa molto interessante è questo grande tubo che sta qua, che ha portato l'acustica a tutto l'insieme. Quindi vedete che molta gente si chiede ma per che ragione abbiamo fatto questo ha portato poi l'acustica alla chiesa. Quindi adesso arrivando qua, girando la strada.
Which way are you going?
The Convent of Christ has a total of 8 cloisters built in the 15th and 16th centuries. The Washing Cloister is a 2-storey Gothic cloister built around 1433 under Henry the Navigator. The garments of the monks used to be washed in this cloister, hence the name. Also built under Henry the Navigator, this Gothic cloister was the burial site for the knights and the monks of the order. The elegant twin columns of the arches have beautiful capitals with vital motifs, and the walls of the ambulatory are decorated with 16th century tiles in a Manueline tomb. Built in the 16th century, the chapter house window and the west facade of the Manueline nave of the church are visible for this cloister. And started under King John III of Portugal, was finished during the reign of Philip I of Portugal. The first architect was Diogo Carvalho, who began the work in 1557 to be finished in 1591 by Philip I's architect, the Italian Filippo Terzi. The magnificent two-storey cloister connects the dormitory of the monks to the church and is considered one of the most important examples of Mannerist architecture in Portugal. The stories are connected to each other by 4 elegant helicoidal stairways located in each corner of the cloisters.
Dormitories. Wow. That's strange, really. Colour factory. Heating room.
The castle in the city of Tomar is considered one of the most important Portuguese military buildings of the 12th century. The building of the castle began on 1st of March 1160. That date has become the Day of Tomar. The building was an issue of military strategy since it was necessary to establish a fort that could defend the borderlands with the Muslim regions. Guialdin Pace, master of the Knights Templar, was the main overseer of the building of the castle, considered as one of the largest examples of defensive architecture in Portugal.
scherziamo più. Bene. That was the other stairway down that we were.
This massive structure of castle and chapel has its own aqueduct as well, which feeds in across the building.
Refectory or dining room.
Everybody ate together in one large hall, and at either side of the hall is an area where people can stand over the people that are eating and watch what they're doing. There's also massive kitchens, and then within the kitchens there's ovens and all sorts of things. Below the buildings is a cistern. This was used to store large quantities of water which would have been fed from the aqueduct. And these huge jars were used to store olive oil. This is the aqueduct that leads into the building, so water could be brought all the way across the valley and into the castle. This is the point where water is drawn from the cistern, So they'd have used it like a well. Yeah.